And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're so honored to have Mr. Rich Parsons with us today. And Rich has joined us from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And Rich, welcome to the show. Thank you for filling in for being a co-host with us today, my man.
Hey, you're welcome, Jim. Happy I could find a place that was quiet enough to join in and do this today.
I hear you. I know what you mean. And we've got another young lady from Colorado Springs join us, a great friend of ours. Her name is Beata Seweryn-Reid. I think I said that close enough that she won't, get too mad at me. I tell you, it's a wonderful thing to have wonderful guests on, and we're so excited to have Beata here. And when you hear her story, ladies and gentlemen, you will say, oh my goodness, if this little girl from Poland can overcome the obstacles in her life and be successful, I know I can too. And Rich, we're going to be right back with Beata in just a few moments, right after this brief message.
Hi, and welcome to the Messages of Inspiration and Hope show that's proudly sponsored by the 6-Minute Webinar. Today we have some exciting and very interesting guests, real people just like you and me. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Now here's Jim.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Rich, my goodness gracious. When you think of Beata Seweryn-Reid, I slurred it twice. What goes through your mind when you saw her bio and all, her story?
Well, as I looked through that, a few words came to mind. Determination, perseverance, obviously having the right mindset for a transformation. So many others come to mind, but I don't want to steal Beata's thunder in sharing some of her story with us, but definitely a powerhouse to go through is what she has.
Definitely. And Rich, before we bring Beata to the show, you have Higher Calling Consultant LLC.com.
Correct.
That's your website. Would you just share briefly a little bit about that with the audience, if you would, sir?
Yeah, so my business is really based on coaching and consulting, but I wanted it to be Higher Calling Coaching, but that was already taken. But I focus on helping people get unstuck from those things that are limiting them and the barriers and the walls that are there that's stopping their progress, to help them get past that so they can be successful and show up at their very best every single day.
Oh, okay. And if someone wants to get in touch with you, and this will be alternating back and forth, the website and Rich's email there, but also you've got a new project called Your Success EMagazine. Is that correct?
I do. Yep. Don McGrath, our good friend here at Scale Pathways, he and I were working on this towards the end of the year, and a newsletter turned into an e-magazine, and now we're 4 months into it. I just published the April issue this morning, bright and early. And Your Success e-magazine is for entrepreneurs and business experts that want to reach a large audience and share their message, share their story about what they do and who they serve, and do it in a unique way through an e-magazine versus just every other social media post that's out there. Getting that expert status.
Oh yeah, an e-magazine. I like things like that. It's like an ebook. It's very condensed, and you don't lose it or anything like that. But we got to do a drum roll. I'll tell you what. You do the drum roll, and I'll mispronounce her name one more time. And she's smiling at me backstage. She's such a sweet lady. We got to welcome the Miss Beata Seweryn-Reid to the show. Welcome to the show, young lady. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here, Jim. Thank you so much. You did a great job with introducing me with my difficult name. And I'm really, really amazed by what you do.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I didn't know Reid was that difficult to pronounce. Oh, my goodness. We're so honored to have you here. When you sent in your information packet, oh, my goodness gracious, I had no idea of your struggles. you were born behind the Iron Curtain, as you say, in Poland, huh?
Absolutely, yes. I was born and raised in Poland during challenging times when communism was the thing, and it was tough. I was the youngest of four, and two very hardworking parents trying to, just bring food to the house to these hungry kids. But the funny thing, after years, I realized that we were so poor, but we did not even know that we are poor, because it's all what we know. And how many times in our life we just don't know, because we are living every day our life, and it's just normal for us. It's our reality. So now I laugh like, oh my gosh, we had no clue, but we had fun.
You know, Rich, I tell people, which is true, I grew up on a farm in North Carolina. My hometown is Shelby, North Carolina. And I tease people, growing up on a farm, being a country boy, me and all my buddies, none of us knew we were poor. We went to town. But, you know, Rich, what we were rich in were the things that money could not buy. And I know in your life, because we've had you, in fact, I met both of you on the original webinar series when we had that on during the pandemic. That's where that's where our paths crossed. And Rich, I know for a fact you've talked a lot about, what's really valuable in life. And we're going to hear a lot more about Beata's story here in a moment, but I'd like for you to add something to it, sir.
Yeah, well, I grew up in North Carolina as well, and unfortunately,
you're a Tar Heeler.
I'm a Tar Heel. I'm a Tar Heel. But as I grew up, I realized that the relationships that we built as I look back on life were important. And, I still remember getting lost in the woods with two of my best friends and having a search party, and the state patrol come out to find us. And my father, his punishment for me was that I had to stay in the house. But that wasn't much of a problem for me, considering I was scared out of my wits from getting lost for about 5 hours.
Yeah.
But the relationships and people that you get to know, and how you live life is important. Oftentimes you think back to, man, the good old days when things were simple. And I'm sure that Beata probably has stories where, as she was growing up, there are times where she would look back, even though it was a tough life and she had challenges. I know that just like every one of us, she has some good memories there. And I'd love to hear about some of your memories that you have as a child, Beata.
Absolutely. Wow. Like I said, we had fun because we just didn't know that there is more. So, oh my goodness, we were playing with funny things that now probably current kids or teenagers, they would like, oh my gosh, is she from the age like 100 years ago? No, I'm a little bit younger than 100 years old, but I was playing with cans. We had cans after, the canned food. There was a canned food, but we had no toys really. So it's today I look back and we had great stories. We had to use our imagination to life, to have fun, to create, events that were, were taking us, making us exciting and just make the best out what we had.
You're exactly right, because as you're saying that, it reminds me of a time me and my friends were up under our house there, and we were had our little trucks and cars or whatever we had, didn't have much, and we was going to make little roads and stuff. And my bulldozer, and I was brilliant at operating this bulldozer, was a piece of 2x4 about 4 inches long. And I was, making these little roads. Oh my goodness. The imagination that we had then and how creative we could be, that's good exercise for the brain. And so many kids nowadays, they're brilliant and they're smart, but they don't have that ability to put things together or create something from nothing. When it stops working, they just throw it away and get another one,
I think it really helped me later in life with challenges. Like I had to find a way. Yes, I had to find a solution instead of, facing the problem. I had to find a solution, and it's where you find it in your imagination.
And I want to go now to about 7 years of age. Something very traumatic happened to you in your life, and I want you to take us down give us that story. Take us down that journey. What happened to you when you were just 7 years old?
Yes, when I was 7 years old, I was a first grade student, and I was so excited about going to school because I was taught by my parents and basically society that education can take you far. And even being a little kid, I knew back then that there is more out of these invisible walls. Yeah, we couldn't leave the country because of the Soviet Union and all this stuff. So we were like living in this small place, but my imagination was like, there is more. And one day I'm gonna go and check what is really in the world. And I remember being at school and my teacher asked us, who do you think you will become when you will grow up? And I was like, me, please. And she's like, okay, tell us, Beata, who you gonna be when you grow up? And it will be funny, but I said, I want to be a butterfly, like the one on my backpack. Everyone was laughing, but I was serious. And after years, I realized that my desire was to have the wings that would take me from Poland and I could just explore the world. But I was very exciting. My father picked me up from the school, and my mom was always my best friend. So I couldn't wait to go back and tell her, Mom, oh my goodness, it was great day at school. But we didn't make it because we got into the car accident, and all I remember is just big boom. And then I don't remember anything else. And so my father was okay, but I experienced a traumatic brain injury and woke up in a hospital. I don't remember how many days after, to the conversation between my mom and the doctors. And they were saying, Mom, you need to be realistic. Your child never will be normal. If she will make it through maybe second, third grade, if she will make it, it will be great. But don't have high expectations. She needs to. So there was so many restrictions. I couldn't read. I couldn't watch TV. Not that there was much to watch during, one channel, but there was so many restrictions. And as a kid, oh my gosh, it was traumatic. And I remember that I got scared. And I also remember I was trying to cover myself with the blanket to hide from the world because I'm not normal. The doctor, authority, they just said I'm not normal. And kids, and not just kids, we all are, I just want to be normal. Yeah, I want to be like everybody else. And it's when the first challenge in my life happened that I had to overcome these stories that were not serving me. And again, my mom, she was very, very smart woman. She is still, but at that time, for not really much of awareness, I remember that one day I started screaming, and because I had these stories going on in my head that people will know I couldn't go to school, so I'm not normal. And I was, Mom, I'm scared. I just want to be normal like everybody else. And my mom, she came to me and she said, child, you don't want to be like everybody else because you are not normal. You are special. You are unique. You are God's miracle child. And it really, really changed my life. I took her words with me for the entire life. And later on, I also realized that except the strength, the inner strength, she taught me that I have to think for myself. I have to think independently, no matter what. Yes, some doctor, and probably he was right for what he knew at that time, but do I have to follow? I had to follow his restrictions for a long time, but then I decided that I have to take control over my life, and I started to stretching, this restriction when nobody was watching me. I just ran a little bit. Then I started reading a book when nobody could see me. So I was hiding that. And I was like, okay, nothing happened when I do this. Nothing happened when I jump. Nothing happened when I run. So I'm going to do more of it. I'm just going to do more of it. And it's how I lived for most of my life, just stretching my limits. Wow. And you basically saying, you see, I can. Yes, I can.
That's an amazing story, isn't it, Rich? Because I guess you've known people like I have too, that someone tells them something and it becomes such a truth as far as they understand truth or no truth in their mind, that it handicaps them sometimes for decades, doesn't it, Rich?
It does. And congrats and kudos to you, Beata, for keeping such a positive mental attitude and developing that in your life, that obviously now as you look back on that challenge and things that have happened since then, how have you been able to use that, not having a negative attitude about things, which would have been very easy to do? How have you cultivated that positive attitude, and how has that benefited you going forward?
Well, we always have a choice, and it was a choice. I could choose a positive attitude and look for ways to improve what I didn't like at the moment and learn more about myself. Basically, that's the key. You have to know yourself. And how many of us, we don't really know who we are at the core. And that helped me because I had to make a choice. Do I see this situation as an obstacle, or do I see it as a lesson that I can learn and improve from here? So, and I will go back to my mom. I always go back to her. She was so strong. And during this, challenging times, she was teaching me so many lessons. And again, she said, other people's opinions or situations does not have to become your reality. You do you, and never give up on yourself. And this do not ever give up on yourself were helping me to turn. I was scared also later in life. I had challenges, different challenges, but this, do not ever give up on yourself, because me and my dreams matters. It what I think helped me a lot with choosing my attitude towards what I was facing.
Yeah, it would have been so easy for you to just give in to the negative side of things and to not do that. I imagine you were probably inspirational to other people and continue to be to this day.
I was, but for a very long time, I didn't know why all these people, friends, they are always coming to me and ask for advice. And I was basically attracting, it's what I learned later, with my energy. I was attracting people. They always wanted to be around me and follow me. I had no clue, because you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, you are not aware. And later, again, when I started working on me and being coach and grow in what I was interested in, I was like, oh my goodness, okay, people like me to my point of view, not that I'm giving advice, because what works for me not necessarily will work for you, but I can guide you and I can give you my point of view, my perception. And if you take anything from it, I'm happy.
The thing that I like about you is that you've got skin in the game. And because there are a few people around that are coaches and, this and that, but they're just kind of like educated. I mean, you went through you walk the walk. So now you have earned the right to talk the talk. You really have, because, you know, when people that connect with you and they know your story as a child, and you rose up from that because you had a remarkable mother, a very remarkable mother. And I got to salute your mom too. I saluted you a little bit earlier, but I'm saluting mom too.
Thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome. She's a remarkable lady. And she got you to do something that all adults should do with their children, and that is believe in them.
Mm-hmm.
That's extremely important, because nowadays, Rich, in our society, we see all this negative stuff vomited on society, and we hear all these negative things coming out. And I really believe that everybody, everywhere, all around this big world, they are wanting some good messages of inspiration and hope. They're wanting to be able to connect with people who have been, through the fires of life. And it's kind of like, I relate that to silver. The silversmith will create the fire, and he puts the silver through the fire to remove all of the dross. And what is left is sterling silver, all the impurities. So, young lady, Beata, you are sterling. And I got to salute you, and I got to salute your mom again, because, that's the mothers to me are the cornerstone of life. And Rich, I'm babbling on a little bit, and I know you got a couple of things you want to say, so let me hush and let you jump in there, brother.
So, Beata, as I read through your story, I couldn't help but think that, not only did your mother instill in you just some good values in believing in yourself and taking chances. I mean, you talked about it. You would try something and it didn't hurt. You didn't have any negative repercussion from it. So you tried something else. Tell me, how did that inspire you as you moved on through your life? How did you use some of those lessons learned early in your childhood to help you as you grew into your teenage years and into adulthood?
Yes, and just if I can add, my mom, she was my first mentor, and I think everyone should have a mentor in life, because who is a mentor? Someone who sees farther than you. They can see you. They can see farther than you who you are. And it's very important. Like you said, my mom saw potential in me, and she was giving me the strength to go for it. And so I wish to everyone who's watching, find a mentor, and it can be in family, but don't be scared to go and find someone like Jim or Rich, because they can see farther for you. They have farther vision. And going back to your question, Rich, yes, that stretching the limit, it was I really had fun with it, and it was taking a risk. It was my kind of like a game of life. I think it's still from the childhood. And it's like, if I can do that, I can do this. And it's going into teenager. Well, it's funny probably, but kids are kids, and especially teenagers. Then they're just gonna say something to hurt you sometimes. And I heard sometimes you don't have to work that much, especially at school, because you have this sign on you that you had a traumatic brain injury, so people are easy on that. The teachers are easy on it. It was so like frustrating for me, and I was getting pissed, if I can use that word here, but I was like, it's not true. I work hard. So you can imagine this little teenager that was feisty really and ready to like, no, I know it's not true. So I work really hard. Right? I work people what other kids need to do, because I was proving. First, I thought that I'm proving them wrong, but to be honest, I was proving myself that I can do it and I can achieve whatever I want. And it was like that till I got my master degree, in the meantime, bachelor degree. And it's the time when I stretched also my traveling zone as well. And I came to United States. So first time I came to United States. And it's also funny because it was 2004 for the first time as an international student. And I thought that, well, it's just English. I learned hard on my own to learn English. I always wanted to learn English, and I thought that my English is awesome. And then you come to this country, and my first experience is with that people who picked us up and said, "What's up, sis? How was your trip?" I was like, "What's up, sis? What is it? Like, what's up?" My gosh, what English am I in United States? What is going on? So it was another challenge that I had to face. That there is English, but there's also the different English, like that.
Yeah, we call it country English.
Right. I had to learn that. And it was, I think, my next challenge, that the risk and challenge that I faced myself with, that not only that I'm going to go to different countries, but they speak different language. I don't have anyone here, and I will make it.
That's what I like about you, because you left a difficult situation there. Your fiance of 11 years, he decided to pack his bags or leave or whatever. So you came to the United States, and you were all alone. You did not have any family with you. You did not have any friends with you. You didn't know what's up, sis, meant. I mean, bless your heart. That shows how much fiber and how much, strength that you're made of. I mean, you are one tough little lady. I mean, she's hardwired, Rick, on the inside. I mean, there's no short. Yeah, I mean, she really is. And all of that training and everything, as we want to get into your specialty, that laid the foundation for you to say, "Hey, I survived a traumatic brain injury when I was 7. I was told all these things that were not true, that my mother had me believe in myself as a kid. I overcame that. I came to this country all alone. I didn't have anybody in my life, and I didn't have any family and friends. I didn't even know the language. And I just wanted to be the best me I could be. And then I had this, I guess you would call it a calling. Is that what it would be? That you had this desire in your heart to help others overcome obstacles in their life."
Absolutely. You're so right. I was working for a long time in hospitality. So I love to serve people anyway. But at some point, still overcoming challenges in this new country, even register the car. It was like, oh my gosh, where do I go? What do I do? And, with my phone, translating some professional language, but I could do that. And at some point I felt this emptiness again, that what I do is not enough anymore. And I was already in personal development for a while, and I had my coach, and actually she helped me to find my purpose and calling. Actually not find, because it was there, just to give a voice to it. And do not be afraid, because, well, another secret, I was so ashamed of my accent for a very long time. So I was scared to leave a normal job, because I was like, who would hire me? Like, who would hire this little girl with broken English? But people were coming to me, and sometimes they were saying something not nice about my English, but a lot of time it was the good. So what you focus on grows. Yes. So you can focus on being a victor, or you can focus on being a victim. And I choose the victory. And it's when I decided that there are many. First, it was about the women, like, oh my God, there are so many women that are like I used to be, and I want to help them. And then I again, stretching my comfort zone, then it grow, and I started helping men as well. But yes, it was the time, in the times of our lows, yes, when we feel like this is the end, or is there more? It's when your calling is speaking to you. And it was for me also at that time. And I said yes, and I was scared, and I was still afraid, and I didn't know if I'm gonna have clients, but I said yes. Say yes to your desires. And and then I met you and came to your show, and it's how you do it, just step by step, every day.
Yeah, I want to build on that a little bit right when we come back from this brief message. You might know this guy. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
The 6-minute webinar allows you to create a marketing product in a fraction of the time that it would typically take to create a webinar. And when you follow the simple process, you will provide laser-focused content to your ideal customers. And the nice thing is, it's repeatable for any product or service that you offer. My name's Rich Parsons, founder of Higher Calling Consulting, and creating my own 6-minute webinars has allowed me to have a 24/7 marketing presence for my ideal clients. So I encourage you to make the 6-minute webinar part of your business marketing strategy too.
And thank you, Rich, for that wonderful commercial on the 6-minute webinar, our sponsor. And right before break, ladies and gentlemen, Beata was talking about how we all came together. And we have COVID-19 to thank for that. We really, truly do, because back in March of last year, hey, we already been over a year and I didn't even celebrate our first year anniversary. Shows you how smart I am. But we started the show, and we were on Zoom and Facebook Live, and we just did a call for speakers. And Rich, I think you were on twice, were you not, on the original webinar series?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so. And I know, Beata, you were on once. You were on twice too, weren't you?
I think I was twice, yes.
Yes. And watching them go and grow from there, this is why when I need a co-host, Rich is he works very closely with us at the Scale Pathway, and we're all one big family there. And so I call on him, and he says, okay, I got to help Jim out today. And I appreciate that, brother. But also, yeah, thank you, sir. But also to have Beata here with her story to share out there. If you're watching this on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, whatever, be sure and let someone know that this show is going to be downloaded tonight. It'll be uploaded on our YouTube channel, Messages of Inspiration and Hope. Like us on our Facebook page, Messages of Inspiration and Hope. And be sure, because there is someone out there that can really relate to Beata's story. Just do a quick recap. At age 7, she was in a car accident, traumatic brain injury. The doctors told her mother that she would not be able to be normal, whatever normal is, and she was really restricted, and she was afraid. Imagine being 7 years of age and being afraid. That's horrible. But she overcame that because she had a wonderful mother. And says, you're right. You're not normal. You're special. And I like that. I like that very much so. And you came to this country and you couldn't speak a word of English. You didn't have anybody in your life. No family, no friends. And you even thought, wow, who would hire this little girl from Poland with an accent? And you just keep coming, put an obstacle in her way. You know what, Rich? That's just a pebble for this little girl.
Yeah, right.
It really is. And I tell you, Rich, you've had a similar calling as she had with your journey to help people. And there's a lot in common when people have skin in the game and people are able to use that and say, this was my life. And I just want to build on one more point here, and I want to turn the camera over to you, Rich. But Folks, no matter where you're at in life, no matter where you are right now, is the perfect place for you. Now, that may sound kind of hard or ridiculous if you're in the middle of a tragedy, or if you're in the middle of a, very, desperate type situation, or a very unpleasant situation, but it's a perfect place for you because that's where you are right now. But that's not where you are going to be. And Rich, I know you've had a lot of experience in areas like that of helping people. Would you share some of that with us, sir?
Yeah, by all means. I don't want to take too much time here because I know we've got some more stuff for Beata to share with the audience. But, it has, like you said, having a commonality, similar purpose in life, which is, helping people overcome challenges and live as successful a life as they possibly can is important to me. I feel as though it's a calling on my life, just as I'm sure Beata feels as though it's one on hers. So helping people get to that next level and overcome challenges is rewarding in and of itself. But what I find is in listening to Beata is that, she knows what her purpose is. She's got that clearly outlined, and that she's had to have some of her own faith in things that she has the ability to handle any challenge, and then to be able to help other people overcome those challenges, just as she has using her own experience to do that is critical. So Beata, I'd love to hear about you and how you have applied your own philosophy and your own mindset in helping people achieve a change in their life.
Well, like I said before, the number one value for me, what I learned very early in my age, is independent thinking. And I learned if I think for myself every single day and I choose me, and it doesn't mean that it's egoistic and like I don't care what other people says. I care what you say, but your work, what you see for me is not necessarily good for me. So let me check. And so I always like, let me check for myself. And it's what I do with my clients. My clients, they go through a lot of life changes and challenges. Like, come on, it was COVID and a lot of people get laid off. A lot of people had mental challenges and fear and doubt, what is next. And I bring the message of inspiration for them, and I help them to find that message in them. And it starts with independent thinking. Yes, it's all true. We have to, yes, the COVID is real, but like everything else, it will pass. So now you have a choice to focus on what is happening now, or focus on what I can do now to make my future better.
You describe yourself as a change and transition coach.
Yes.
And yeah, everybody understands change and transition, but you bring the whole thing together. We're going to change and transition you. I'd like for you to share that with the audience, if you would, please. Change and transition coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there is a misconception, or at least it's how I see the change and transition. So as a change and transition coach, I help people and businesses to navigate the chaos that they are finding themselves in. And come on, now and even year back than ever, we go through changes every minute. And what really change means to me, change is any event that is breaking your normal life patterns. So for example, it could be, like I said, job loss or divorce or changing career, or the business owner that is facing and dealing with COVID challenges. So this is change, the event that is changing your state. Something was that way, but is not anymore. And the transition comes in to help people make the emotional adjustment to the new situation. So in other words, your mind knows that things are different, but the heart did not accept it yet. And it's what I help people to to make the coherence between mind and heart, to accept the reality, but still move on, because without movement, without actions, nothing will change for better.
I really like the way she put that about getting your heart and your mind together and all that, because when we had Dr. George Grant on talking about health, he was talking about the three things got to be in sync is your gut, your heart, and your mind. And that seems to be the common denominator on all fronts, whether you're talking about living healthy or being mentally healthy.
Yes.
And that's what Beata is really focusing, getting them to realize you need to change here. We're going to go through a transition. You're going to take them on a journey, aren't you?
Absolutely. It's, life is a journey, and sometimes we like it. Sometimes we just not like it so much. But out of the troubles, out of the challenges, there is always something good coming. But so I'm helping them to see it, that you're gonna experience what you focus on. You can focus on the change as a bad thing. Like for me, you mentioned this episode in my life when my fiancé left me. And yes, it was traumatic. It was, I didn't feel good, not enough. But after, you go through this emotional pain and feeling not enough, but then you have to make decision again. What this is teaching me. I took off. I decided to come to United States and create a new life. So you can make best out of any event in your life. Just take responsibility.
That's really amazing, Rich. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was going to say, what an attitude to have, that you're going to make something out of what seemed like nothing at the time, and really going for you to learn English and to learn how to function in a different society, going that extra mile to really hone your skills to be successful and help other people be successful is there's a lot to say for that. And I'm sure that's probably something that draws people to you. And just having, from what I've seen in this show and other times that we've interacted, is just your personality is contagious. And so when you're working with people, how do you instill that in them to not just have a good attitude, but to just be a pleasing, pleasant person? And how does that affect their being when you're talking about connecting the heart and the mind?
Wow, thank you for that question. That is a great question. I have to mention that my main tool that I use with my clients is journal writing. And it's what helps people connect mind and heart in a very quick way. Because when we write, and it's not me, it's proof, it's knowledge, and what do you call it in English? Now I lost my English, you see. The science, the science is the science. Like when we write, we cannot lie to ourselves, because when we write, we have this image. We like to be seen more than we feel who we are. So when you write, it's proven by science that you cannot lie to yourself. And by writing, you can see your limiting stories, which are our limiting beliefs. Very often they are not even ours. Like in my case, it was not me who said that I won't be normal. It's the doctors, and I translated it that not being normal, it means being less. And in writing, you can get very quickly clear about who you are. And it's why I mentioned at the beginning, very often we don't know who we are at the core. And this well-being, Jim mentioned the mental health. Journal writing is also helping with navigating the chaos and downloading the emotions that, how many of us is walking every single day and bottled up with all this negativity, and we just cannot let it go. And writing is helping you to just let go. I think Les Brown says, let go or be dragged. So yes, that's true. Just let go, or you will be dragged by this not really positive stories. And it's I think the big part of my coaching. It's very quickly we can get to the core issues with my clients, where very often is this mindset that the story that we have about ourselves, and 99% is not really powerful. It's not empowering, but disempowering. And it's what I help my clients with: redefine, rewrite your story. It's in you. You just have to bring it to the surface.
And sometimes the stories that we believe to be true have a lot of myth to them, a lot of lies to them. And that's really where you come into play, Beata. You kind of like say, hey, let's just take a look at this.
Right.
Let's just evaluate. Let's separate the truth from the fiction here. And, how do you want to deal with this? I mean, where do you want to be? I mean, who are you? Who's the real you? That's the focal point, isn't it? Bringing them out, right?
Absolutely. Yes, I love what you said, to separate the fiction from reality. And when we write, we become an observer. How many times in life you can really see from this other perspective when you are not so attached into your own stories? So it's what I help people to do as well. Be an observer and see how you see yourself.
Right.
Is not true.
Rich, growing up in the country, I like to tell the story about this guy. He was watching his wife prepare a ham, and she cut off both ends of the ham before she put it in the pot. Yes. And he thought, that's kind of weird. He said, why do you do that? She said, I don't know. My mom always did it. So then some time passed, and he asked his mother-in-law, says, how come whenever you going to prepare a ham, you cut off both ends before you put it in the pot? And she says, well, I don't know. My mother always did. So one day he was around Grandma, and he says, Grandma, I got to ask you a question. He says, my wife and my mother-in-law, they both cut the ends of the ham off before they put it in the pot. And they said that you always did it. So I'm just kind of curious, why did you do it? She looked at him, well, son, so it will fit in a pot. What do you think? And I mean, that's a funny little story, but so many times we see somebody do something we think is the right way or the gospel way or however you want to classify it, when really it's not reality, it's not truth. And sometimes we need to break that down out of our mind and let it go. Because some of those myths in lives, I mean, growing up, and Rich, you grew up in the South, you probably heard this too. I thought it was in the Bible. My mother, she said it, she believed it. Cleanliness is next to what?
Godliness, of course.
You heard that too, didn't you? And I mean, I thought it was in Scripture. I really did, but I don't know where that got started. But see, that's something that people can believe. I grew up believing it was, just like John 3:16. It's in the Bible, right? It's got to be true.
Yes.
But sometimes, tearing down some of those myths that we believe, that we think are true, sometimes it's a little hard to let go. Because people have grown comfortable with it, and to rip that totally out is part of their foundation. It's part of who they've been for a long time. And that's where, Beata, you're coaching, and Rich, you too, in that department. You guys really can help them, hey, I can help you rebuild this area of your life, because you need to transition from where you are to where you want to be, the real you. And I'd like for both of you just take a moment, if you can think of, don't name the person now, but just share with us one story that you've helped someone get up out of the shackles of where they've been held down, and help them go and grow and become the person they were meant to be. You want to go first?
Beata go first.
I knew he's going to say that. I knew that. Ladies first. We're gentlemen here.
She's the star here today.
Yeah, we're gentlemen here.
Well, there's so many stories, but I think one of the first clients a while ago, when she came to me, and she had this no self-esteem and everything was just not working, and she was blaming herself. And then we discovered that it came from childhood and the relationship with her mom, and that she was told similar story. Yeah, I'm sure Reggie we will agree. Like sometimes we are our own clients, yes, like our clients' issues are basically what we were going through. So
Right.
I saw in her me when I was dealing with these stories that were put on me, and unfortunately for her, it was her own mother. But we rewrite the story. We rediscovered who she really is, and today, oh my gosh, like just the example, like she would never do live video. Now she is all over. She is running her own business. She is helping other women because she focuses on women. And I'm just cannot be more proud of her. And Chris, if you hear me, you know who I'm talking about. So I'm so proud of you.
And Beata, I'm proud of you too, because you were there for her in her hour of need. That's our calling in life, to be with someone in their hour of need. And so, Rich, now it's your turn, brother.
Well, one of the areas that I focus on in part of my coaching is in helping people feel more confident in their ability to speak and get their voice out there. And there's a lady that I just kind of met through happenstance on Facebook, and she started asking some questions. She was telling me about what she was doing, and I told her about what I do. And she asked if I would help her get more comfortable in speaking on the virtual stage. And so over the past, probably 3 to 4 weeks, I've just been working to encourage her to use some skills, some techniques that she could use to be more effective. And now I'm getting messages from her that where she's feeling much more confident about herself, and she's feeling that she can voice her message in a way that is effective, and she's not in her head quite as much as she used to be. So just hearing that success from her, and the fact that she's now booking herself into more shows and more podcasts is a testament to her ability to work and do what she needs to do to get ready. And it's just been a pleasure working with her in that area.
You bet. I can relate to people that have trouble with speaking and stuff like that, because a lot of people do not believe me when I tell them that for many years, I'm talking about decades, I suffered from glossophobia. And when I say glossophobia, they're like, if I'm standing close to them in public, they normally start practicing social distancing long before it was popular, okay? But glossophobia means the fear of public speaking. I just, it just used to petrify me. I hated it. I was okay in a boardroom or giving a report or something like that, but stand up and do a class or be on a TV show or something, going like, you've got to be kidding me, But I help people with glossophobia and overcoming that. And it's not really that hard. But Beata, I want to get to you because we're running out of time. And I'm going to ask you in a few moments, what is the biggest problem you've ever faced? We know you've faced a lot of them. And young lady, again, I got to salute you. And I got to salute your mom too, because your mother's a very special lady, very instrumental in your life. But I know you and I know your heart very well, Beata. We go back a little ways. And I would just bet you'd like to give a free offer today, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I have a beautiful PDF, free PDF that it's about journaling, 10 steps to better journaling. And you can download it from my website, Beata, Beata, lifecoaching.com. And I just give you a real example how I use journal writing to improve and empower myself and go through all life challenges that I was facing.
That's extremely important, to keep a journal of your journey.
Yes.
It's kind of like a roadmap. If we're going to get in the car and we're going to go from New York to Los Angeles, we better better know which roads we're going to be taking. Otherwise, we might wind up in the Florida Keys, me driving and say, Jim, what are we doing down here? I don't know. But the view was fantastic. But it's very, very important to keep a journal to be able to keep you on track. And like I said earlier, I was going to ask you that one big question. You know, you've overcome a lot in your life, and you're a very strong young lady. You're very positive. Your heart is just out there. I mean, you love to give, you love to help. I've seen that over and over, and I know Rich has seen that with, you know, interacting with you. But what is, would you say, the biggest problem that you've ever faced in your life?
The biggest problem I faced, I think it was me. I had to face my fears, my own stories. So learning who I am and who I can become, it was the biggest problem that I faced.
That's a tough one too, because you got to be honest with yourself.
Absolutely. It's the hardest, when you have to own it and own everything, not just how great you were, but also your downs, that, okay, I was part of it. I didn't do my best, but I'm still walking. I still am alive, so I can do something about it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, Rich, two of the toughest things for people to face sometimes is to be truthful to themselves, number one, and number two, to say, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And our nature seems to be, we want to self-justify that, why we're right and why we're not as bad as what we thought, or we didn't do as bad as what we thought. In reality, you fell flat on your face. I've done that many times in my life. And, you know, when you're honest with yourself, this is when you can be helped from a higher source. Because if you're puffed up with pride on the inside, you know, you're not going to get anywhere. Because your pride is going to short circuit you. It's going to rob you of all the true riches of life, the things that money cannot buy, you know. And we got about 2.5 minutes left. So, Beata, please, I'm just going to hush. That's a rarity for me, you know. But really, I'd like to give you the last 2.5 minutes, if I may, please. Just say anything you like.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I would like to encourage everyone who is listening to us to share that interview, that conversation, because you never know who might need it, and encourage you to take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for where you are and where you want to go. And for that, you need to get clear on that. How did I get here and where I'm heading? And when you do that, then stretch your comfort zone. And comfort zone is nothing like just confidence in you. And stretching, when I talk about stretching, I always gonna highlight stretch your thinking. You know, your imagination can take you places, but you have to give yourself a chance. So stretch your comfort zone. And I already mentioned the last step, take action. Without action, nothing happens. And have the courage to follow your dreams. Start where you are with what you have, and do not stop until you get there.
And once again, if you go to www.beatalifecoaching.com, right there on the screen, they can download your journal. You say it's in a PDF form right there. Go ahead, share that again.
It's 10 steps to better journaling, and it's helping you to start. It's really, sometimes people think that it's just some kind of science. No, it's just simple steps that you can help yourself, your mental health, your family, your emotions. And you can find it on my website, like Jim mentioned, Beata, Beata, lifecoaching.com. You will really love it. And let me know what you think about that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It means a lot, because a lot of people out there, they need something out there to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. And I want to say again to Rich, Higher Calling Consulting LLC.com is Rich's website. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I got a comment here. Oh, it's from my sister, Linda Gold. It's great to journal. It keeps your memory. It certainly does. And especially my memory. She knows, I think she's talking about me there.
She knows you probably.
Yeah. And also I want to, put up there Rich's website, get in touch with Rich there at, he's done his website, his email. There it is. I hit the wrong button because I knew my sister was watching me. R. Parsons at highercallingconsultingllc.com. Be sure and get in touch with Rich, and he'll be glad to share some information about his Success EMagazine. Your Success EMagazine. Yeah, I tell you.
Indeed.
Yeah, he was going to put me on the cover till he found out that the printer told him that my face wouldn't work. It jammed up everything. So we had to throw. I'm teasing.
And that's why I took your spot, and I will be there.
Hey, now that's intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, that's intelligence in action right there. Oh, my goodness. We're so glad that you joined us today, and I just got so excited and had so much fun. I just pulled my plug out there. I hope you can hear me. Got unplugged. But anyway, Rich, thank you so much for being with us today. And appreciate you, brother. And Beata, thank you very much. And I got to salute you and tell your mom I saluted her too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.